Hi, my name is Daywee and welcome to Daywee's Life Coaching. I'm doing a review of the Hallmark Christmas movie, Where Are You, Christmas? I do these reviews because I love the Hallmark Christmas movies and this season, and I wanted to talk about it from a life coaching perspective. So I'll give a quick summary and then I'll talk about the main issues that the two lead characters have from a life coaching perspective, and then I'll give my final review of the movie. We start out with Addison, who is a brand marketer, and she works specifically with marketing products to get launched during Christmas. So she works all year long on coming up with Christmas campaigns for any particular product or service, and at the beginning of this movie she's launching a huge Christmas app. I don't even understand exactly how it works or what it does, and they don't get into the specifics of that, but you just know that she's a really big deal and she works in Chicago. Her hometown is about 2 hours drive out from Chicago in a place called Red Lake Falls. She has not been home in about 6 years, and there's a lot of tension between her and her dad, and they're kind of not looking forward to spending Christmas together so much. You can tell in the beginning of the movie, but I'll talk about that in more in a life coaching sense later on. Then we have Hunter. He's a veteran. He works at his grandfather's mechanic shop. He's a mechanic and also owns the mechanic shop. He grew up with his grandpa, and he loved doing that with he calls them pops. So he loved working there in the shop and doing that with him. And when he came back, he just sort of stuck to himself. He was kind of a loner, and he's kind of sad. You can tell he's sad. His character is very serious. And the other thing he talks about is that he says, you know, when he was out for service, he saw a lot of things that people shouldn't see and people should never have to experience. And so he just wanted to get away from everything. So when he came back, he just isolated himself, and that he felt like a disappointment to his pops because during that isolation time, when he came back, his pops died and he wasn't there for his pops. And so he has some guilt around that, and he had a very traumatic experience. And of course, being Hallmark, they're not going to get into super traumatic things, so they don't get into a lot of the details, but you understand and you know his background enough to how it moves the story along, and that he has some things to overcome as well. And he's also not too Christmassy. He doesn't decorate his shop. He doesn't, participate in the town. Addison always has car trouble, and so that's how they kind of meet. And the first time they meet, there's this little like twinkling music that you know they're going to be connected in some way in this story, but not in a romantic way. It's not in a romantic way, but in that sort of special, like fairy dust way, I would say. And of course, we know the rest of the story. They're going to go on this journey together in the movie and be trying to solve a problem, which is the town forgetting all about Christmas. And then they'll end up together in the end. So there's no surprise there. How it all happens is what makes this movie so interesting. And so Addison makes a wish because there is so much to do. And her character is so involved in the to-dos and checking her phone and not paying attention that even her family is like, what is wrong with you? What is going on? And her dad also says these passive-aggressive things to her, like, well, if you were here more, you would know this about me. Things like that. And they really sting her, and you see it in the movie. So she makes a wish that sometimes I wish there was no Christmas. And then she gets into a car accident, And Hunter is the one that finds her in the car and says, "You've been in an accident." He helps get her out of the car, and everything is black and white. I kind of like this. It's very symbolic. So everyone in the town forgets Christmas. Nobody remembers the Christmas pageant. Nobody remembers decorating or what Christmas Eve is, or singing carols, or doing anything, getting gifts, getting trees. So Addison gets on a mission, and she goes to Hunter because she feels that there was a reason he found her, and there was a reason that she found his veteran's ring, and she wants to give it back to him. And so in giving that ring back to him, he has a memory, a wonderful, loving memory of Christmas, and it's about his pops, him and his pops, and when his pops gave him that ring. And that's when he changes to color. And it made me cry when I watched it. I even get a little teary-eyed saying it now. There are 3 more memories that we see specifically where people turn into color, and it's definitely worth watching the movie to see them change into color. But as it happens, Addison convinces Hunter to bring Christmas back to the town, and of course he's very hesitant. He doesn't want to do it. He's like, "I don't know anyone. I've been sort of like a hermit. I don't know people. I don't talk to people." And she convinces him. And so they make it their mission to bring it back. And slowly, as she starts walking around town, you can see that more things are in color as people are remembering. And she's wondering why, even though she remembers Christmas, she's still in black and white. So she is the last person to change color. Now I'll talk about the big dilemmas in the movie. I think for Addison, she has to overcome the relationship with her dad, and then she also has to figure out what it is within herself that she's able to take care of herself, really, because the other people have all these wonderful memories and these heartfelt moments, but she's not having that. And that's because she's too busy focusing on everybody else. And so she's not really thinking about herself. So that's one thing she has to overcome. And the second is her dad. So when we get towards the end of the movie and just about everyone else has changed color, her dad drops some real big truth bombs, and he gets really honest with her. And they connect over the fact that they're not changing back to color. And Addison says to her dad, "You know, Dad, I'm going to be in this with you. If we don't change color, that's fine. We're in it together." And he admits that he feels like he's losing her because she has this big old job in Chicago, and she's so tech savvy, and he's not really, and he's trying to keep up with her, but he can't. And so in his way of trying to keep up, he gets passive aggressive and says all these sort of sideways hurtful things to her. But then he really gets very vulnerable, and he says to her, "I don't want to lose you. I want to be connected to you. I want to be a part of your life." And then when he admits to her, he's like, "I just don't know how." And I think, having children of my own, and as they grow up, one's getting to become a teenager, that I really connect with that feeling of, as my daughter's growing up and she's becoming a teenager, sometimes it's hard for me to figure out, I don't know how to connect with her all the time in the ways that she wants me to, and she doesn't know how to tell me all the time either. And Addison wasn't telling her dad how to connect with her, and she also was not making the effort. But in that moment, in that real conversation, they figured it out together, and I thought that was beautiful. And then at that moment, I think they were sort of waiting for each other to turn into color, and they did. So that was kind of funny. Then they go to the town pageant, and they honor Nick with his Veterans Operation for Smile charitable organization. And so Addison's dad, his name is Nick, and he's also a vet. And so in doing that, he turned into color. So then, of course, like in a royal princess movie, Addison thinks she needs to kiss Hunter to change into color. And so we see that she does it in that way, and it doesn't work. And I was honestly kind of glad that it didn't, because I don't think she should kiss him just to change color. And so, of course, that made him upset because he didn't feel like it was genuine. As he should. He should want a genuine kiss from her. But then later, her dad comes and talks to her again. And this is where she has to overcome her sort of second dilemma in the movie, which is she has to stop focusing on other people and other things and focus on herself and figure out what really serves her and what she wants. And she thinks about if she really feels something for Hunter, and she does. And so they meet again, and she says, I'm going to kiss you for all the right reasons. And that is when she changes color. So enough of the life coaching stuff. My overall review, oh my gosh, I would give this a 10 out of 5. I loved it. I have it recorded. I'm probably going to watch it again. I loved this movie. I love the symbolism with the black and white and changing back into color, and people having the memories, and that those heartfelt memories is sort of like what heals their Christmas spirit. And I love it. And if I talk about those, I'm going to definitely cry again. So, but her friend has a Christmas memory, her brother has a Christmas memory, and then of course Nick, her dad, has that memory, which I told you about. The other thing I left out is that Hunter does have to overcome sort of his sadness and his way of hiding in the town. And so working and connecting with Addison on that Christmas mission, that finally gets him to come out of his shell. So it took him connecting with people to overcome that. That's the last life coaching thing I'll say about it. But this was an amazing movie. I loved it. It's fun. It had a bit of a different tone than I was expecting. There are some real comedic and quirky, overall tones in this, and then you get those real touching moments with those memories and how they're connecting, and then those truth bombs that Nick lays on Addison towards the end that are real heartfelt and vulnerable moments. I love the contrast. It seemed more modern with a little, sprinkle of magic in it, with the memories and the flashback memories that people had. And I loved that. I thought it was great. So if you like this review, I'll be doing more. You can subscribe if you'd like to keep up to date with my video entries, and I'll see you next time. Bye.